You've said it before, maybe out loud, maybe in your mind. God, if you're real, show me. Not as a joke, not as a debate, but in that raw, honest moment, when life hit harder than expected, when the silence felt louder than the noise, when everything inside you ached for something beyond yourself. You're not the first to ask, but what if the answer was already there? Not in the sky splitting open, not in a booming voice, but in the whisper behind the wonder, in the stillness between your questions. This isn't just a video. This is a wake-up call. Because God isn't hiding. You've seen him. You just didn't recognize him. Section 1. Creation was his first whisper. You want to know if God is real? Look up, not on your phone, at the sky. The stars aren't just decoration, they're declaration. Every galaxy, every atom, every sunrise is saying, there's more. Someone made this. This world isn't random, it's too precise, too beautiful, too intentional. The earth spins at the perfect speed. The sun burns at the perfect distance. Your lungs breathe oxygen without effort. That's not chaos, that's choreography. Romans 1:20 says, since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. You don't need a telescope, you just need to stop and notice. Creation was his first whisper, and it's been speaking your name all along. Section 2. Your conscience isn't yours, you felt it. That quiet don't do it before a choice. The weight in your chest after you wrong someone. The ache for justice when evil gets away. That's not just guilt, it's not instincts or cultural conditioning. It's a signal. Deep in your soul you already know there's right and wrong. Not because society told you, but because God wrote it into you. Romans 2:15 says, they show that the requirements of the law are written on their hearts, their consciences also bearing witness. You've never had to teach a child that stealing is wrong. They know. And even the person who says there's no absolute truth gets furious when they're lied to, cheated or betrayed. Why? Because we were wired by a moral creator. He didn't just give you a brain, he gave you a conscience, and every time it speaks, it's him. It's not your inner voice, it's his fingerprint, and he's been speaking through it your entire life. Section 3. The silence wasn't absence. You prayed, you waited, and nothing happened. You took the risk. God, if you're real, I need you. And the sky stayed silent. No voice, no miracle, just stillness. But what if that silence wasn't rejection? What if it was invitation? God isn't a genie, he's not a showman. He's not triggered by desperation or demand. He's a father, and sometimes fathers don't shout. They whisper. He whispered through that friend who showed up out of nowhere. He whispered through that moment the chaos paused, just long enough for you to breathe. He whispered through the pain that broke you, and left just enough strength for you to crawl forward. 1 Kings 19 tells the story of Elijah waiting to hear God, and God didn't show up in the earthquake, not the fire, not the wind. And after the fire came a still, small voice. That's how he moves. You were expecting thunder, but he was already in the whisper, and you were never alone. Section 4. Jesus is God in the flesh. You asked to see God, he came, not in fire from heaven, but in human skin. Jesus wasn't just a teacher or moral guide. He said things no ordinary man could say. I and the Father are one. Before Abraham was, I am. And then he backed it up. He healed diseases, commanded nature, forgave sins, and walked out of his own grave. The world changed, not because of religion, but because of resurrection. You don't split history in half with a myth. You don't inspire martyrs with a hoax, and you don't fulfill centuries of prophecy by accident. John 1:14 says, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory. God walked among us, and the world has never recovered. Section 5. The evidence is you. Let's stop pretending this is just theory, because if you're watching this right now, it's not by coincidence. You've felt that pull. You've seen the signs. You've wrestled with the silence and cried out in the night. That wasn't doubt winning. That was God knocking. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws them. John 6:44. And maybe, just maybe, you've been drawn here. You are not here by accident. The ache in your soul, the hunger for truth, the longing for something real. It's not proof you're broken. It's proof you were made, and the one who made you has never stopped calling your name. So now the question isn't, Is God real? It's, what will you do with that truth? He's calling, not through the noise, but through the stillness in your soul. If this message spoke to you, comment below, "I hear you, Lord." Let it mark this moment. And if you're ready to go deeper, to stand firm, lead boldly, and live your faith out loud, join the mission. Become a kingdom builder and help spread biblical truth with power and purpose. You're not just watching anymore. You're being called,